Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's Advisor Today webinar. My name is Suzanne Carowin. I'm the Vice President of Marketing and Communications, and we're delighted to welcome Hummingbird, who's part of our Business Performance Center. And we're joined today with Bruno Nicoletti, who's going to talk to us about all the work they're doing. I know it's super exciting. As soon as you put LinkedIn out, everybody's like, I want to know what's happening. So we're looking forward to hearing that, Bruno. And, just housekeeping notes. If you want to ask any questions, you can use the Q&A or put it in chat, and we'll be happy to Bruno, how do you want to do that? You want to take questions throughout, or you want me to just present?
Yeah, I can always just pause for questions,
Okay. All right. So everybody feel free. Nice, relaxed atmosphere. And Bruno, take it away. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me, guys. I'm super excited to be able to present in front of you guys. As Suzanne mentioned, I think anytime somebody, talks about LinkedIn or maybe talks about prospecting, it's kind of an exciting topic. So thanks everybody for jumping in. So Sarah, do you mind pulling up the presentation here for them? Cool, guys. So we made a little PowerPoint, haven't made a PowerPoint in a long time. It's been a while, but we wanted to make sure you guys got as much education out of this meeting as possible. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to teach you guys how to book 15 to 20 meetings a month on LinkedIn. And we're going to teach you a process that we've developed. We're working with over 2,000 advisors across the US, and we have over 10 million data points on this type of process. So I think you guys are going to enjoy. I'll pause for questions periodically. And so if anybody has a question, feel free to throw it in the chat box. So go ahead, Sarah, next slide here. So this is what we're going to cover today. Obviously me, who am I, right? Why listen to us? What does this kid know, right, about prospecting on LinkedIn? We'll touch on why to use LinkedIn, and then really we're going to dive into the process of exactly what should you be doing, what should you be pressing to convert, right, and to actually get people to take a meeting here with you. Okay, perfect. All right, next slide, please, Sarah. So just a little bit of an introduction on me. So my name is Bruno Nicoletti. I'm the CEO and founder of Hummingbird. I was actually a financial advisor for 5 years before I built the platform. And my family, we're from Brazil. So I grew up here. I never really had a solid network to build a financial planning practice, right? I didn't know anybody who was, rich or even above the age of 30. Everybody I knew was in their 20s. My parents I didn't have family here, really nothing to build a practice. And so when I started my business and my financial practice, I just thought, hey, why not use LinkedIn? Everybody on there is a professional, right? And so I actually built this process I'm going to show you manually. And I did this entire process manually. And eventually I got to the point where I was like, hey, maybe I can use some kind of automation to replace this process. After I built that kind of the beta stages of what Hummingbird is, because what Hummingbird is, it's a LinkedIn automation platform. So it's going to automate everything that I show you. But after I built that process, I was actually MDRT core to the table producer. So I wrote quite a bit of business. And again, I was an advisor for 5 years. Then I started to kind of give this software out to other people, and we've been able to collect over 10 million data points on this type of prospecting. And Hummingbird works with over 2,000 advisors across the US. I recently just welcomed a new baby girl. Her name is Navy. So I have a daughter upstairs. And the wife's taking care of her. And I'm also on the Brazil Olympic wrestling team for anybody who likes wrestling. So just wanted to share that with you guys. I'll be representing Brazil at the World Championships here in September. Cool. Well, enough about me, right? Let's see here. Why listen to Hummingbird, right? So we have over 2,500 advisors currently using the platform. And we've been able to gather around 14 million data points in financial services. So we only work with financial services people, only insurance, wealth management, kind of like those those broker dealers, wholesalers, but only in financial services. Everything from recruiting to prospecting, right? And what's cool about that is, 10 million data points, we know exactly the best way to build a list, craft language to get in front of your ideal prospect. I see somebody saying Happy Father's Day. Thank you. It's my first one. Well, cool. So let's jump on to the next page here, and we'll kind of just outline. Again, Hummingbird, it's a LinkedIn automation platform. So if you guys ever want to do this process except automated, because it will take you a couple hours a day, hit us up. We'd be happy to work with you. But essentially, what you need to do if you want to book meetings on LinkedIn, the first thing you're going to need to do is you guys are going to need to get Sales Navigator. Okay. Now, if you guys don't know what Sales Navigator is, it's one of the premium versions of LinkedIn. Okay. And the reason we like Sales Navigator, number one, it has an amazing filter system. We're going to use this filter system to reverse engineer our ideal prospect, right? And the second thing is it allows you to send the most number of messages that any type of premium account can send on LinkedIn. So now we're talking, how do we scale this, right? Because we're going to need to send a lot of messages to get people to meet with us. So Sarah, I'm actually going to share my screen here. And I'll kind of show them what Sales Navigator looks like. So guys, if you have a Sales Navigator prescription or subscription, not prescription, but I am prescribing it to you, you should get it. But if you have a Sales Navigator subscription, this is kind of what it would look like here. And so what you're able to do is hit this lead filters here, and you can build a list of your ideal prospects. Okay, using this filter system. So that's one of the reasons we like it. Now, just as important as building a list of your ideal prospects, it is important to have a commonality between you and them, because that replaces a nominator, right? What's the best kind of prospect? A referral, right? That's usually what we're looking for, because it's a lot easier. They're teed up. There's, some kind of warmth there. Right. So same thing here, except we don't have a nominator. So we got to build one. I call it building a straw man nominator. So, hey, if we're going to target business owners, why not target business owners that live in the same city as us, or that went to the same school, or something like that. Right. So let me show you how I would build it. The first commonality I always use when I'm building a list is this connection button here. I'm going to hit second degree connections. Why? Because we're going to know some of the same people. And so when we're sending out invites, people are more likely to accept the invite if it looks like some people in common, right? So that's a commonality, second degree connection. So I always click that. It's also kind of part of LinkedIn compliance here, right? They don't want you spamming people. So build the list, second degree connections. Okay. Now, another thing that I might do is add another commonality. Well, hey, I live in Colorado. So if I'm going to target anyone, might as well be Colorado. Why? Because people trust people that they can go into their office, right? So here's another example. I click Colorado. Now I got kind of two commonalities here. I'm going to go into industry. I'm going to filter out financial services. I'm going to filter out insurance. And then I'm going to filter out investment management, because I don't want to reach out to people that do what we do. Okay. Then let's say, hey, I want to work with people that are in their 40s and up. So I'm going to go here, maybe 35 and up, right? So I'm going to go here, years of experience, 6 to 10, more than 10. Again, if you want younger people, less experience. If you want, right? Imagine if somebody graduates and they're, their first job, they're at 24 years old. Okay, well, more than 10 years of experience would be 35 and up, right? So kind of do that math in your head here. Then I'm going to add another commonality, my alumni group. If I'm going to reach out to anybody, why not reach out to the people I went to school with? Or, I could also add NCAA wrestling. Why not reach out to other wrestlers? They're more likely to meet with me, right? Just because I could say, hey, I'd prefer if most of my clients had cauliflower ear, right? That's like funny, but that's what books the meeting. But let me show you the alumni example. I went to Colorado Mesa University. Okay. So now I got second degree connection, one commonality. They live in Colorado, another one. They're not in financial services. That's just for me. Years of experience. And they also went to Colorado Mesa. Okay. Then what I might do here is filter it out by, seniority level. Let's say I want to meet with owners and partners. I want to meet with people making the most money, owners and partners. Okay. But I also want them to have had a business that, is stable. I don't want somebody who just built a business last month, right? No cash flow. I want 6 to 10, more than 10 years in current company. So they've been at that current company and they've been owner or partner for 6 to 10 years, more than 10 years. So this is an example of a list I would build. Yes, I want to meet with business owners, but let's break it down. Who are the most people like to do business with people they have things in common with? That's how you make friends, right? It's not because I'm some financial wizard. It's because we went to the same school and I said, go Mavs, and they want to meet. They're sure, Bruno, I'll do that for you. Okay. But you'll see here on the right, we have owner, Long Point Digital. We got a shareholder dash director at Hanson Certified Public Accountants. We got an owner, Underpin Productions. Look, 265 mutual connections. That guy's going to be like, whoa, right? How do we not know each other? Jonathan, owner, your business marketing coach. Okay, maybe I don't want to meet with him, right? And I can figure that out as I go. But here's an awesome list. I got a ton of owners and partners that all live in Colorado, that all went to Colorado Mesa University, and that have been 6 to 10 years plus in their business. Okay. I'm going to pause right there for some questions. Any questions on how we build the list? Cool. Is that all making sense? Right? We need a commonality. That is why people book a call. Good? Sweet. Now, the next thing that we're going to do, Sarah, do you mind sharing your screen? And so I could just talk through how to build that language. Sorry, guys, I got Sarah on the call here. Sweet. Go ahead and do the next slide, please, Sarah. Maybe make that smaller so everybody could see. Cool. Perfect. So when we're crafting language, what should we be saying? Well, again, I have 10 million data points on what's working, right? And a lot of people might create language like, I love the opportunity to network. And before I go, I see a question here. Is Sales Navigator is a must-have? Here's the thing, is it's going to take quite a bit of activity monthly for you to be able to generate enough meetings for you to be able to then close those clients, right? I think we all know Granham's 10-3-1. So for every 10 meetings you book and share what you do, 3 will walk through the process, 1 becoming a client. So you need a lot of front-end activity to be able to convert, right? So yes, you do need Sales Navigator. That's batteries not included. But realistically, you can't build the list, right? So it's pretty much a must-have. Sales Navigator, yes, after you add the filters, you could save the lists and you can just keep track of those lists. Absolutely. But yeah, you absolutely need Sales Navigator, and I think it's $79 a month. But if you don't have it, I would definitely get it. You know, you could even throw in current company, pull up people's directories, and all that. Can insurance agents do something similar to find leads and book meetings? And can insurance companies do something similar to find agents? Absolutely. So we can build lists to target people that are insurance licensed, right? So if you want to run a campaign where it's like, hey, I want to pull up people that are licensed in they're licensed in, you know, property and casualty or life insurance or health insurance, we can build those lists. And if you guys ever work with Hummingbird, we would build it for you, craft the language with you. But yes, insurance agents can definitely do this. It just depends what kind of insurance that you're offering, right? If it's, you know, maybe like on the employee benefit side, you'd probably want to be talking to like a human resource person or the business owner, or maybe, you know, CFO. If it's more on like the property casualty side, you know, maybe targeting like trucking companies and people that have a lot of cars, right? But those are all kind of ideas that our team can talk through with you, and just figure out what's the best way to approach it. Yeah, and so just a little bit about our automation. The way it works, it connects with people, it engages with them, and when somebody replies, it shuts off, and you take over the conversation. So, you know, it won't necessarily turn people off too much because it's still somebody on the other side talking to them. But I'll tell you, you know, some people it will, others it won't. If somebody's turned off, great, you're not the person for me. You know, I want to have conversations with people that are like, sure, Bruno, that sounds like a good idea. If you're not interested in that, that's fine. But if we do enough front end activity, enough people will raise their hands and say, hey, Wes, yeah, I also did go to Boulder. That's awesome. Go Buffs. Yeah, dude, you know what? I have a person, but I'll give you 10 minutes. That's usually how some of these conversations will go. A majority will still say no, that's fine. But just to have something in the background that's booking 15 meetings, that's pretty powerful. And so Sales Navigator does not do automation, just so you guys can understand. I see Andrew's question. Hummingbird does automation, but obviously we've specialized in LinkedIn. And so the process I'm showing you, you would have to do manually. Absolutely. And yep. So you would have to do this process manually that I'm showing you, unless you guys worked with us. Christopher, I see your question. Start to replace other CRM systems. Yeah, absolutely. So the way our platform works, the conversations and the people coming in will all be in a CRM-like product, where you can manage people, right? Schedule messages, you can do certain things. And then with the touch of a button, you could just export that and plug it into your like Salesforce or maybe something that you already use. The reason we haven't built a CRM ourselves, you guys understand just compliance from different companies, right? That they want to make sure that the CRM is hosted with them. But you know, one additional step, you can get all this information into your CRM. But I would only plug in people that book a call with you, because everybody, like, I would hate to have a CRM full of people that are not interested. That's the worst, right? So as people book a meeting, it's almost like they graduate from the Hummingbird CRM into your new CRM. Yeah, it is capable, but it is that one extra touch, right? You would have to export it into a CSV file and just upload it. But we could show you that process if it's something that you guys want to integrate. But typically, you know, there's 1,000 people coming in a month, and you only want to put the 10 people that booked a call or something, right? Because you don't want these people that said, hey, no, Andrew, I hate you, don't message me, right? You don't want those in the CRM. So really, typically it's like manual as you go, because somebody wants to book a meeting, you just follow a normal process. You send them a calendar invite, you put them into the CRM, right? That's how I would do it, but there is a way to do it overall. And yes, there is a drip program. Absolutely. And you can do that through LinkedIn, and we can build it. Again, here at Hummingbird, we're very process driven. And so everything that we do kind of has this system, right? First we connect, then we message. And once they message, we book the call, then we do approach, right? And we'll kind of dive into that process here in a sec. Sarah, do you mind going back here? And guys, after this call, if you want to know more about Hummingbird, we'll give you guys a link to book more of a personalized demo. Again, today I wanted to keep it educational. That way, if people don't want to pay for our services, great, you can do it manually. And I'll even give you guys a little form, and I'll send you all of this to your emails if you guys want to recap it. But really what you do first, you build the list, right? Which I just showed you kind of how to do it. And again, working with us, we would build it for you. But then we craft some language to get you in front of them, right? And what do you want to say in this language? Well, you don't want to say, hey, I'd love to network. I'd love to get to know more about what you do. No, none of that. Because you're going to set yourself up for meetings that don't matter. You're going to meet with a lot of coffee meetings with real estate agents that don't turn into business, right? So what you're going to want to say, who you are, what you do, how you can be relevant, and then a calendar question. Sarah, you're sharing your screen. I need the screen, Sarah. Okay, who you are, what you do, how you could be relevant, calendar question. So here's an example of some language, right? Let's say I was targeting that alumni group. So first, what I would do is I would connect with them. Once they accept the connection, I would say something like this. Thanks for connecting, Andrew. The reason I'm reaching out, I run a financial planning practice, or I run an insurance practice, or I run an employee benefits practice, right? So fill in the blanks. The reason I'm reaching out, I run a financial planning practice, and my team works primarily with successful business owners and executives, or something like that. And then you'll see here, I tie in the commonality, many of which also went to Colorado Mesa University. Commonality again, right? I'd love to share with you some unique strategies that we are helping our best business owner clients implement during these times. So this is how I could be relevant. I'd love to show you some unique strategies that our best business owner clients have been implementing during these times. Also very compliant. What are these best strategies? I mean, it could be anything. I'm not talking product, I'm not talking return. You're going to get in trouble. You shouldn't do that, right? I'm not talking pricing. I would do this on the approach call, okay? Then I say, do you have 10 minutes for me over the next couple of weeks? I think we would be able to tell very quickly if my ideas are relevant or not. Calendar question. Okay. Who you are, what you do, how you can be relevant, calendar question. So we're connecting with them. Once they accept, we send them this message. So this would not work with somebody's personal website. This is only done through LinkedIn. So it would have to be somebody's like LinkedIn profile, or maybe their business profile. I would recommend doing a personal profile, because a business profile, nobody would reply to that. That would look like spam, or else Coca-Cola would be telling you about Diet Coke. Every message would be Diet Coke, and we try Diet Coke, right? So no, I would not do a company. I would do a personal profile. Yes, I can give you an example of the language to connect. I would just say something like in this example, we got the school name. I would say, hey, Tyrone, I see you also went to Colorado Mesa University. I love connecting with alumni. Let's connect. Right? So just mentioning like why you're connecting. Hey, Bob, I see you went to CMU. Let's connect. Something simple. You don't want to sell in the connection request message, because then people will decline it. And so when you think you're building this funnel, well, first we need people to accept the connection. And the reason we really want that is the moment they accept, their network became our second degree. So the list we were building grows. Every time we add someone, it grows. So really, you're kind of building this pool of people that you never, ever have to switch, right? Because there's just so many people out there. Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people, depending on the campaign. So we just want to say why we're connecting. People are going to be happy. Oh, yeah, I also went to Mesa, connect. That's what we want. And then we try to take them from connecting to like, hey, are you interested in a 10-minute call? You fit exactly who I work with, and I crush it with them. And I have some ideas for you. That's a great question, Roger. The reason I like doing second degree connections instead of first degree. So Roger's question is, I have 30,000 connections. How can I use this with second degrees, or for that matter, my own first degree list? So that's awesome that you have that many connections, and that's great. The issue with first degree is you typically somewhat might know some of those people. So it's hard to scale that process because everybody needs such a personalized message that it would just be like very time consuming to do. So at least when we're running our platform, we'd rather do second degree because the odds of you knowing them, not very high. So the messaging can be broad and still capture it. I just don't want to be messaging like your neighbor and then he's like, oh, I'm your neighbor, right? And I also don't want Roger in there like manually rewriting these messages. You kind of want to build a process where it's like, boom, I have the list. Now you're just like copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, and maybe just change their name in there. You know, that's why you want to do maybe school name, because then the only thing you would need to change is put their first name in there. And then you just copy, paste, and run through this process over and over and over and over. Or obviously pay us and we can do it automated. To be frank with you guys, this process, if you were doing it manually, it would take like 2.5 hours a day to do. Because for you to yield meetings and then yield clients, you need quite a bit of front-end activity. And LinkedIn only lets you send about 50 messages a day like this. So you would only be able to do 50 a day. So you would need to do 50. You would need to do it for 2 hours a day. You would need to do it every day to eventually pile up enough people to convert. Some people prefer to do it manually. Maybe you have somebody on your team, they can do it for you and spend the 2 hours. The way Hummingbird does the automation, it would literally connect and engage for you. As people reply, they land in an inbox. And then that inbox would only take about 10 minutes a day to manage. And they're booking on average 15 to 20 meetings a month. So again, guys, I know I'm foreshadowing, but if you want to see what that platform looks like, book a demo with us. I'll throw that link here at the end of the call. That the degree of contact that may also work, such as, yes, absolutely, Chris. Yes, we can do groups, so if you're part of the Chamber of Commerce, or honestly, like I said, my best campaign I ever ran was targeting business owners that, again, were former wrestlers. So there's a group called Wrestlers in Business. And then my language was exactly like the one I showed you guys. Hey, the reason I'm reaching out, I run a financial planning practice and I specialize in working with executives and successful business owners, comma. I would prefer if most of my clients had cauliflower ear. Haha. I'd love to share with you some unique strategies that we are helping, right? So it's kind of all like fill in the blank. But the only way to know exactly if it would work for you is if I was in your, Sales Navigator building it with you. But yes, absolutely, Chris, those would work. Cool, guys. Any other questions here before I just show you an example of that process? I'll give it a sec. I know people were asking questions kind of while I was going through here. Cool. Sarah, do you mind if you stop sharing and I'll share my screen here? Cool. So guys, I'm going to share with you the process. Then I'm going to share with you exactly how much activity you need to actually do to acquire a client. And you can follow this T by T and you'll know exactly what you're doing. Okay. So here is the process, right? So as you guys remember, I built this list, ideal prospects, right? So let's say all of these people are ideal. What I would do, let me actually, what I would do, something like this, right? So here's Stan. I'm going to connect with Stan. And then I'm going to say, hey, Stan, I see you also went to CMU. I love connecting with other alumni. Let's connect. And then I would send the invitation. So I sent it, right? Then once somebody accepts my connection, they would come into LinkedIn, right? So let's say notifications. Well, you guys know where you get your notifications, right? I use Sales Navigator here. But let's say he accepts the connection. He would end up in my Sales Navigator messaging here. So here's an example. I mean, we obviously use this to speak to advisors and insurance agents and all this stuff. So Mark was on the list I built. And this is my message. Hey, Mark, I see you're in the financial services industry. I spent 5 successful years at Northwestern Mutual as a financial advisor. Would love to have you in my network. Let's connect. I'm not talking about Hummingbird. This is just, hey, let's connect. Here's my commonality. Then once he accepts the connection, that message goes out, right? Once he accepts, I would say something like this. Thanks for connecting, Mark. The reason I'm reaching out, I run a financial services prospecting firm called Hummingbird. And my team works with some of the best advisors across the US. I'd love to share with you how we are helping them book 10 to 15 meetings a month using our platform. Do you have 10 minutes for me over the next couple of weeks? I think you would be able to tell very quickly if our software is relevant to you or not. So that's what I would say. See how I could just fill in that blank? Cool. So first, Sarah, do you mind sharing your list or your screen again? Yeah, share your screen again for me, Sarah, so we can look at the process. And Peggy, good question. I'll answer that here in a second. Today. Cool. So here is the process. Next one. First, you build a list. Then you craft the language. Then you're gonna, once they accept the connection, you're gonna send, or then you craft the language. I'm sorry. So build a list, craft the language, then you're gonna invite them to connect, send connection request to ideal prospects. Once they accept the connection, we're gonna send the personalized message, 4-step process. And then you're just gonna manage the people that reply. Okay. So let me answer Peggy's question. Peggy asked, is this tool compliant with LinkedIn's terms of service? I know that there were some tools that do not use Sales Navigator that you have to be careful with how you use. Absolutely. So, I mean, the way that it works, and this is why a lot of other automation companies, they don't connect to LinkedIn the way that we do. So other automation companies, they are an extension of LinkedIn. So essentially you got to attach it to your profile. But guess what? When LinkedIn is trying to stop spamming, the first people they go to are the people with extensions. LinkedIn has also come out with something called the Social Selling Index, which is essentially like a credit score for your profile. And it's good to have a high social selling index. Basically, that social selling index is based off of your connection rate, right? So if you're adding a lot of people on LinkedIn and they're not accepting, guess what? You're probably spamming. But because we build ours through a commonality, we have on average across 10 million data points, a 32% connection rate, which means almost a third of the people that we build the list for our clients accept the connection. And that number is a great number for LinkedIn. So LinkedIn's not worried about us. They're worried about the automation companies that are just blasting anybody and everybody. They want to stop spamming. They don't want to stop facilitating the amount of time spent by the user. They just don't want people to get spammed, or else people don't go on LinkedIn. So the way that our platform works, again, we only build it with commonalities. That's number one. If you're going to work with us, that's how we do it. Number two, the way our platform connects, it connects through a VPN. So it's as if you're logging in from your city. And the reason it connects that way is our software has to connect as a user and not as an extension. Why? Because once you reach your limitations of how many messages you can send per day, you're going to get a notification that says, hey, you've sent too many. And if you're connected as a user the way ours connects, it just stops. Oh, notification. Okay, we're done for the day. Other platforms, because they're an extension, they can't read that. So the user just sets, hey, I want to send 100 messages today. Well, that social selling index, again, it's an algorithm. So today your number might be 25. And so if you're using another platform, you just sent 75 red flags to LinkedIn. Like, hey, this person keeps ignoring the message that we're putting up saying they've sent too many. And so we've never had an issue using our platform. LinkedIn definitely knows about us. We've had conversations with people at LinkedIn, and what we've been told is they're less worried about us and more worried about people just kind of spamming. Another thing to note, our 10 million data points are only in financial services, right? We only work with financial services. So anytime you guys are working with us or ask me, how do I build a list? How do I craft some language? We've done it. Well, all the data points are about that. Other companies, they work with everybody. They'll work with you and then a commercial landscaper. And as you guys know, the financial services industry, there's a million processes before you even get somebody on a call. So it's I think that's our biggest value prop is we only work with advisors. I've been in most shoes. I know what front end activity looks like. I know how many people. I know what the business looks like. And then I know what discovery looks like in that process and making somebody a client. And then imagine the back end when you do. And so beyond our platform, our process was built specifically to be something that you guys can recognize. And my goal is that you don't have to change your process to make this tool or LinkedIn prospecting fit. We will adapt our process to make it fit yours. That way it's seamless. Because I'd rather spend way more money and not change my process. That's how sacred process is for me. We work with a lot of vendors that we overpay, but I'm not switching again. It was terrible, right? Andrew has another question. After the initial connection request, languages that you can suggest. That's the one that I just showed you on that previous slide, Andrew. That's going to be the who you are, what you do, how you could be relevant calendar question. A lot like, I call it the virtual dial. And if you guys don't know what to say, imagine they said it on the phone. What would you say? That's probably it. No fluff, right? Because on the phone, you can kind of add adjectives and exaggerate, no fluff in the messaging. Who you are, what you do, how you could be relevant calendar question. And again, guys, at the end of this, I'll give you guys a little form. If you want the presentation, I'm sure we'll get the recording in there. We also have a little course called 5 LinkedIn Secrets Revealed. It basically just breaks this down with a video recording. That way you guys can review it, maybe do it on your own. And then that form will also redirect to book a demo. If you guys want to see a demo, if you don't, great, use this process. We'll still send it out to you. Sarah, do you mind going to the next page here? And Tyrone, yes, we have prepared responses that, and again, 10 million data points. We have the best responses. We know exactly, and we're not passionate about the language. The data points just tell us exactly which one the best is. So it's like, hey, let's follow the highest yielding, So here's the activity. I think a lot of us are familiar with the 10-3-1 on the back end. That's the Granum system, right? For every 10 people you meet with and share your business with, 3 of them will walk through the process, discovery, right? All of that. One of them actually pulls the trigger. But this is the new activity that you have to do on LinkedIn. And again, the Granum system, I got a Granum book right here, right? This is based on 150,000 data points. We at Hummingbird have over 14 million total data points. Okay. So this is not just guessing, it's almost human behavior. Okay. But so let's say we build that list. For every 744 people that you send a connection request to, if you have a commonality, 275 of them will actually accept the connection. If you have a commonality and you send 744 invites, 275 will accept the connection. Okay. Out of that 275, if you were to craft a message, who you are, what you do, how you could be relevant, calendar question, 100 of those 275 will reply. Now, most of them will say no. Okay, this isn't most of them will say no. But out of the 100 people that reply, 10 of them will raise their hands and say, Bruno, I want to meet. Sure, that sounds interesting. I'm the kind of guy, if you called me, if it's spam and I pick it up, I cannot hang up on people. That's me. I'm just like, no, thank you. No, I'm not interested. No, thanks. All right, great. Have a good day. Right? Like I'm that guy. Some people will hang up on you. That's fine. I'm looking for the people like me that are like, okay, I'll listen. So if you were to send 100 of those messages, 10 will actually book a phone call with you. And then 3 of them will walk through the process, one of them becoming a client. The rest of that is Granum. But what I will tell you, out of the 10 people you book, you truly book them because of value prop, who you are, what you do, how you can be relevant. So you will probably get more of them to walk through the process. Because again, with a referral, it's like, oh yeah, you should talk to this guy. There's still some selling involved. This person did not book a meeting with you without reading why you were meeting. So everybody who jumps on a call has something top of mind. In my opinion, every meeting set should be discovery because they had something top of mind, right? If you did not find what was top of mind, that's why it didn't go into discovery, right? You didn't find it in the approach. So I would set 10 approach meetings. You barely know these people, do not ask them for an hour. It's also going to save your time. Don't block off an hour for somebody who's not an ideal prospect. So book a 10-minute meeting, share with them what you, matter of fact, hey, Andrew, why'd you take the call? Is there something that stood out to you? Anything top of mind? Well, Bruna, blah, 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 blah. Out of that, I think more than 3 people will walk through the process. But again, we're leaning back on Granum. I would tell you it's probably 10-5-2 is the real number that we're seeing, but 10-3-1, I think that's something that we can all, fall back on because that is Granum. Tyrone, at least with our platform, after we connect, we send the second message about an hour later. And if they don't reply to the second message, we message them 3 days later. And then depending on the type of campaign, we might create some future automation for like, a month out, 2 months out, 3 months out, 6 months out. But we would build that together. Again, we try to make it fit a process that you're used to. But initially, I would say send the connection request. Once they accept, send the next one within the hour. And then after that, I would send the follow-up 3 days later. If they don't reply to 3 messages, on to the next, right? Yes, absolutely. This is available at the brokerage level, right? So mainly what we use this for is prospecting. Absolutely. And so prospecting and recruiting, I mean, those are going to be the biggest 2 kind of silos. And again, I mean, when you really think about the amount of activity that this is doing, and I'm underselling you guys on how many meetings you can set. It's really 15 to 20, but let's say you set 10 meetings a month, that'd be about 120 meetings from this process a year for each individual user. Now, if you're a crappy advisor, if you're a crappy broker, you're going to be crappy in front of more people. Not like that's what this process is an extension of you. So if you suck, you're going to suck in front of just a lot more people, but even if you suck in front of a lot of people, you will convert as long as it's in front of a lot of people. Right. So that's kind of the mentality that we use. And Peggy, typically we work, we have individual users, but we typically work with teams. So we'll work with an enterprise account of 25 advisors, 50 advisors. We have people from Thrivent. Thrivent's probably our biggest pilot. We have 250 people that are joining this pilot by the end of the year. We have all their directors on there. We're starting an enterprise account with Penn Mutual and Ohio National and Guardian and LPL. And so again, we have over 2,000 clients, but the best process is to say, hey, let's plug in 10 people into something like this, because although our process works and they will see activity and they'll book meetings and they'll bring on clients, when you can make it part of culture and Bobby's using it and Billy's using it and Jason's using it and Timmy's using it, they're going to come up with their best practice, right? Because they're in the office every day. They know your culture. They know exactly your value prop. They're going to start sharing. Well, Timmy does it this way with this language, but Bobby does it this way with this market. And they use this process, right? First they send an email, then they send, and those are all things that we can help the team create. But they also tend to do it themselves. And so typically, yes, at the brokerage level, absolutely. That's where I would recommend it, if anything, easier to systematize as well. Okay. Yeah. So Sandra, it's actually not emails. All of this conversation would be happening in the LinkedIn messaging. And the way our platform works, there's no duplicate prospecting. So if they're on Sandra's list, they won't be on anybody else's list. And there's just infinite campaigns, right? There's only so many people that have the same second degree connections as me, that are in financial services, that are targeting Colorado Mesa, that they are business owners. Again, second degree connections, 10 years plus, right? That's what are the odds that anybody else is doing this exact same campaign? So number one, it would be very hard for that to happen regardless, because the campaigns are so unique when we build them with our clients. But number two, we have a built-in system where it does not duplicate prospect, right? So in Peggy's example, if she were to plug in, 10 advisors, and they all want to target the same city, we can make it so that they're not messaging the same people ever. So guys, again, you build the list, you craft the language, and then you start just engaging with people. And as they reply, you try to get them on the calendar. Now, if you were to work with us, our platform, we actually build the list with you. So you share with us who it is that you're targeting. We'll reverse engineer that list. We'll come up with what is the best commonality for these folks, and we'll craft it for you. We'll listen to you and we'll build it. The communication is the best piece. Most of my team is former financial services. Even Sarah that's on the call has been sharing the screen here with us. She was involved in NAIFA, and she worked at Emeritus and Guardian, and she's done Pacific Life, and she's worked at other companies, and so are other reps. So again, we build the list for you. We craft the language with you, and then the software connects and engages for you. And all you have to do is manage the replies, which only takes about 10 minutes a day. There's also further automation with the platform. Again, I can show you guys a demo at the end of this call. To work with our team, we have different ways to pay, but essentially the cheap bang for your buck would be doing our annual subscription, which is about, it's $5,000 a year, but for NAIFA, it's $4,200 a year. Right. So I don't know to each of you if that may or may not sound pricey, but $4,200 a year, keep in mind, and there's other pricing, right? There's semi-annual. You can even pay monthly if you wanted to. Obviously, those are a little more expensive, but $4,200 a year on the low end using a platform like this or this process. If you did it every single day, that's the tough part about doing it manually. You can't do it every single day. You're going to get burnt out. But if you did it every single day, used our platform or this process, you would book on the low end 10 meetings a month with ideal prospects. Okay, which would mean 120 approach meetings in a given year. One new client probably pays for the 4,200, one decent client. So what do you do with the other 119 approaches? That's the question, right? So our ROI positive, 1,000,000%, almost impossible, right? It would have to be a huge user error. Beyond that, we actually meet with you once a month and we help you understand why the campaign is working or not. Andrew, we do have our team that works with individuals. So this is something that you could do individually. That pricing is per account. Now, Peggy, if you were to do something at like a enterprise level or brokerage level, that pricing obviously comes down quite a bit. Right. So enterprise, if you plug in more than 10 or 15 people, that pricing goes down. And again, if you guys want to hear more, see more, book a demo and we can review that pricing structure for you. So guys, I'm gonna throw so you want for Bennett here, you honestly don't need too many connections because you're gonna go in and connect with them, right? So I would just hope that you have a LinkedIn that looks real. It doesn't matter where you start. And if you don't have any connections, start adding your people in your office, people that like actually build it out that way. Now guys, I'm gonna put 2 links in here. The first link is if you guys just want information from this presentation, probably the recording. Suzanne, if you could help me get a hold of that. I know somebody recorded here. That would be awesome. I'll send you guys the recording. I'll send you guys the PowerPoint that you guys can copy it. And I'm also going to send you the login to a course. And that course is basically that process revealed. So again, if you want to do it manually, follow the course. It'll show you exactly how to do it. Absolutely. And Roger, for you, there's a way for us to build it with your first degree connections because most people aren't maxed out on connections. But yeah, if you're interested in seeing how we could do that for you, just feel free to book a demo. So that first link is to get the information that we just shared with you guys, the process. Make it super easy if you guys want to give it to somebody, an associate, an admin, or even if you want to do it manually. Oh, and I sent it to the wrong person. I got to throw it to everybody. So here is that link. If you guys want that information, after you fill that out, it will redirect to our calendars if you guys want to book a demo. Okay. But let's say you don't want to do this manually. You don't care. You don't need the information. You don't need the PowerPoint. You don't want the video of this presentation. You just want us to run it for you. We'll automate the process and you guys just, handle an inbox and book meetings, no front end activity done on your end. That second link is to book a demo directly on our calendar. Okay. So if you guys want to book a demo, we can share that with you. There's no cost for the information or to see a demo. No cost. If you want to use the software, there is that cost. And again, Tyrone, that's about $5 grand a year, 3,300 semi-annual, and then about $700 monthly. But we are offering the NAIFA folks a discount on the semi-annual and the annual. So the annual is 4,200 for NAIFA members that saw this presentation. The semi-annual is 2,700. Again, if you're thinking semi-annual 2,700, you would have 60 approach meetings with this process. I have 10 million data points to back it up. 60 approaches in 6 months. Can you make $2,700 out of that? I don't know. That's more of like a you question. But from what I've learned, statistically impossible to not get your ROI for at least using the platform. If you do want to do this manually, it will take you 66 hours a month. We made somebody do it on our team. It was terrible. right? 66 hours. So you can either do that or about 10 minutes a day using our platform. So again, if you guys want to book a demo, link is below. And if you guys just want the information, that is going to be your hummingbird.org/NAIFA. Okay, I will pause here for questions. Any more questions?
Yeah, I think we're wrapping up here, Bruno, but it's been great interaction. I'd also just comment, if you're not a NAIFA member, you want to join our community, because if you're saying like, hey, we've followed Bruno's piece, we have the Hummingbird, I booked that, what do I say next? What are the kind of keys to the conversations? We've got great coaches that can help. We've got other mentors that can help. So come on in and join NAIFA. And then also don't forget to look at our social circle as well. With that, Bruno, thank you so much.